It's exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Changing the world one company at a time is the mission. And changing the way they do business one way at a time. That's
no big deal.
It's, we talk a lot about it, about changing people's buying habits. People that are afraid to do the things in their own business, and then the moment they're done working for the day, they're texting people to get stuff delivered to their door, and they are buying things on Amazon, and if they don't get delivered within 24 hours, people freak out. But meanwhile, they don't mirror those same buying habits within their own business. And I think it's scary for people. And I don't know why. I don't know why that's such a big mental hurdle for people.
It's fascinating to me. And it's always one of the biggest things that we have to talk about with our clients is like, your customers are people just like you. Like, everybody thinks that the rules change for their business versus the rest of the world.
Yep.
Like, I had a conversation with somebody this week, and I'm like, hey, you should really be looking at like online ordering 3 months ago. And they're like, man, we've never done it. I don't know if our customers are doing it. Meanwhile, they placed an online order for something else in our meeting. And I just look at them and I'm like, am I on a hidden camera show? Like, what are we doing here?
We've been in a little bit of a twilight zone this week anyway. It's been a weird week, man.
Say that again.
So
good week.
Ponies jersey, is that what that is?
Say what?
Is that an official Rumble Ponies jersey?
This is the official alternate third jersey that it never was this year.
The Rumble Ponies third jersey for the year.
Big fan of the jersey, big fan of the designer. Just across the board, just a very well done project.
What do you think? He says it's quite the jersey.
Dude, I love that retro, just old school look.
That's the winemaker. When somebody brings you your homemade wine, when you're the winemaker and they want to try it, you say, "Wow, that's really interesting."
Yeah. Kids these days, you'll appreciate retro stuff one day, T. Don't worry about it.
Nostalgia is a very powerful thing. Nostalgia. I'm working on a brand. Actually, it is. I'm going to cover this. That is going to be a frozen popsicle. That is going to be that's what's called a glow stick. Let me cover. Oh, that's all right. I can show that. That's going to be a frozen popsicle in about 6 weeks. And the vibe for the hoodie. So I'll talk about this in a minute. So the vibe for the hoodie. You remember the Miami Vice jerseys for the Miami Heat? Like the most straight fire jersey you've ever seen in your life. It's like the teal and the pink and the black.
Yep.
That's going to be the vibe for glow stick. And it's going to be those kind of things. And then here you go. Latest Lyrical Lemonade. What does that remind you of?
Are any of the kids going to know what that's from, though?
No, that's why they love it. Because they have to ask their parent. This is what they do. They bring this up on Instagram. They show their parents. So then their parents shell out $85 for a hoodie.
Slick. That's dope looking. I like that.
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. But no, nostalgia, you're not kidding when you say, and I know you're not kidding when you say that, nostalgia is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, everything, I see, especially like our generation, where it's just, that's what like we grew up with. And now like we've never got a chance to see a lot of that stuff in this form. So like anytime it comes up now, people just lose their minds. That's why everything's getting rebooted. And they're bringing every TV show back ever known to man ever.
In a different form, though. It's either going to be on that 10-minute video app. I don't even know what it is. I've heard of it, but what's the what's the app that people do like 10-minute TV shows on? Do you have any idea?
Quibi.
Yes, Quibi. Thank you.
Yep.
Quibi. No, never mind. It hasn't hit 14-year-olds yet. They're not into it.
Come on, T.
Perhaps not. Debbie, Carol, Don, Amber, and Nick. Don McPherson checking in. Appreciate it. It's interesting. I just got off a call about influencer marketing, paid sponsorships, how things feel organic. And the influencer that I was talking to, it was really interesting to kind of get his input. He said himself, he goes, the biggest issue that they're having with their communication, and they've actually done this well, is when they bring people onto their team to communicate for them, is internalizing the cadence and the words of how people communicate, and then communicate that to their consumers. So when you text into their program, it's not just, hey, this is so-and-so company, please take a look at all of our things. It's, hey, it's like, sup, here's what's up. Like, that is what it is. And that's why this brand is really doing well.
That's what we talked about last week. You know what I mean? You got to communicate to whoever you're talking to on their level. Yep. It's wild.
What's the coffee choice for today?
Hazelnut cream, always.
No sugar? Good for you.
Every time.
Cut the sugar out. It's good.
So here's the thing. There's science behind it that I don't understand, but the roaster of said coffee has been a client of ours. They've been like one of our OG people forever. And it's a hazelnut cream roast. So if you let it kind of sit for 10 or 15 minutes, that cream kind of comes out and it literally tastes like you have cream in your coffee without actually having it. Something to do, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know it, but it's delicious and it keeps me fired up.
I've gone to the black iced coffee this summer. So it's my go-to now.
I drink it too fast. I just get shaky if I go that route.
I had a client this week, a very interesting conversation. We were talking about direct-to-consumer sales, which if again, I'll hit this 100 times. If you do not have a strategy for direct-to-consumer, you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. You're going to get left behind. And one of the things that we ran into were regulatory issues, like interstate regulatory issues. And one of the things that I told him was, this is what we did with Disco, because we were the first canned cocktail on the East Coast when we did Disco. And it took us nearly 3 years to get regulatory approval. And I said the exact same thing to him that I used. I said, it should be hard. It should be hard to get interstate spirits delivery direct to consumer. And he was kind of flummoxed by that. And I said, here's why it should be hard. That means nobody's doing it, or very few people are doing it. If you truly believe in your brand, that you think somebody's going to order via text a bottle of vodka or whiskey or gin and have it delivered to their door, you sure as heck need to work hard to put together the infrastructure to put that in place to pull it off. Because the chances are, if I have that brand in my phone, and I say buy to X vodka or X whiskey, and they have my credit card on a third-party server, then they have age verification over on this third-party server, but you have to put all of those things together, plus you have to have a FedEx number, plus you have to have somebody doing fulfillment, plus you have to have somebody doing customer service. If you can bring all of that together, you're gonna win. Or you're gonna have a better chance of winning when all the other stuff is there. So how do you handle that when you're working with people to say, this will be hard, but you have to put the work in? How do you have that leap of faith?
I think so much of it comes down to expectations and properly setting them up front. You know, I think, you know, so many people have $1 million aspirations and minimum wage game plans. And it's just like, you really, like, you have the level of audacity to think that you're just that much smarter than literally the rest of the planet, that nobody else thought of this yet. Like, no, if you want to go like national or regional or even cross state lines, like, yeah, it's going to be a fuckload of work. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time and effort and money and patience. Like, and that's like, it's weird. Like, we've been going through it this week where we've had to have like 4 reset conversations with clients where, you know, they innovated and they worked their asses off from March through, the end of June to get through everything and to change what they do. And then it's like phase 4 hit, and then everybody just assumed everything was going to snap back to normal. And, they're like, well, if this is slow, da, da, da. I'm like, well, what about the other 39 ideas that we had?
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, this just happened. We just talked about this, and we talk about on the show all the time. Like you plan for what's now, especially like I'm the biggest fan, as you know, of having a marketing plan for 90 days from now. We don't know what that's going to be. So like, this is a time we have to change like how we do things. And it's just one of those things where like everybody that, takes the approach of like, yep, this is going to be really hard, but they have the talent and the work ethic and the patience to put in that legwork to do all that. Those are the people that are going to thrive after this. The other people that, their level of innovation is like putting a menu on Grubhub and calling it a day, like, probably not. So I think that it's just, and that's where like you just literally have to identify goals and aspirations and then lay out that plan to get there. Like if you think you're going to be the country's first direct to consumer whiskey distillery and that you're going to set up your infrastructure and your marketing and have it in place by next Tuesday, probably not.
Roll call. Amber. If you're not following Amber Howland, I'm going to call her out because she's doing an incredible thing. She's running 6 miles a day, 4 different organizations to raise money for the food bank, and she's documenting it all on Instagram. So she'll drive to the facility, like Doug's Fish Fry in Skinny Atlas. She'll do an Instagram story. She'll run 6 miles around Skinny Atlas, and then you donate on her website, Amber Howland. I think it's amberhowland.com. Amber, if you're still watching, please drop that link for us. It's an incredible story. Nick, Pam, Buddy, Brittany, Vince, and Renee, all good to see you. My question to you is, when you say a 90-day marketing plan, what the heck does that mean when most people struggle? I have no idea. How many more pictures of my business can I put on Facebook today? What do I post today, and how do I incorporate that? And why is a 90-day plan so important? To answer the question, what do I post today?
Well, I think the operative word is plan. Everybody like posting pictures of your business is great, but when there's no connectivity or there's no actual storytelling from one post to the next, like, what are you actually accomplishing? You know what I mean? It's like saying, like, if you decide that, like, I want to build muscle this summer, and then you go run a mile every day. Yeah, you're exercising, but do you actually have a plan to get to where you're going? No. The same way where it's like our 90-day plan, what do we need to focus on? What do we want to sell more of 90 days from today than we do right now? Okay, so as a restaurant, okay, we're going to have to really ramp up probably continue to bank on takeout and outdoor dining, but really takeout is our one safe haven right now. So I would put 80% of my effort into that. Cool. What do we have to do to sell more takeout? We got to come up with some takeout specials. Okay, awesome. What do people around here care about? What price points do we have to look at? Stuff like that. Okay, cool. And then back into it that way, where we're not just posting, here's a menu item in a takeout box. Here's another one. Here's another one. And you're building up. And if you're going to go family style with these takeout boxes, guess what your content should be of? Families eating those food. Which when you break it down that level, it seems super obvious, but ironic, people don't even get that far. They just panic and they post every day or every hour if they get, overly worked up about it. And then they try to say so much, they end up saying nothing.
Yep.
So, that's the other thing. Everything, it's all supply and demand of attention. What was already a noisy space has gotten a lot even noisier over the last 4 months, because more and more people are realizing, like, fuck, I better do something. Mm-hmm. So you have to be that much better to set yourself apart and actually get your stuff heard. And then, oh, by the way, once you get heard, there has to be some amount of value there or some amount of anything that makes them want to continue to hear from you. it's very hard right now. But going back to what you said, yeah, if you're going to dramatically change your business and continue to thrive through a global pandemic, yeah, that is going to be hard. But like what I always tell people, like our people, I'm like, okay, like what's your fucking alternative? We're just going to sit here and say, oh, the governor said chicken wings don't count as a meal anymore. What are we going to do? Which is just ridiculous, but that's a different topic for a different day. But like that, but stuff like that, yeah, that's really foolish. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. And
what are you gonna do about it? If I sold chicken wings today, I would be doing the biggest chicken wing special of all time this weekend. I would be doing 50 chicken wings for whatever you need to charge, and I'd be doing a Facebook ad over my entire region that I deliver for. And I would have a picture of my family sitting next to the lake eating chicken wings saying, this could be you too. Text me at this number. I mean, sometimes the story writes itself, right? I mean, sometimes it just is so easy that, you know, in terms of your plan and what to post today, you know, talk about different things. Talk about current events. You know, if you're a restaurant and yes, the chicken wing story is easy, but if you're a casino, if you sell college materials, and I'm literally just pulling from the chat of what people do, you can talk about anything. People will resonate with anything. That's the fun part about it, is try different things. If your live video is not working, stop doing them. Do something else. Do a pre-recorded video. If you want to build your business, try something different. If the pictures aren't working, try video. If the video's not working, do a long-form blog post. If the long-form blog post doesn't work, try Facebook videos. But talk about different things. What's happening in your community so that people can relate to you. People buy from people. We've been over this. But as soon as you do that, they're going to say, wait a minute. I know Brendan because he and I jammed a little bit 4 years ago. He's a trademark attorney. Oh, he's a beverage alcohol trademark attorney. So when one of my clients has an issue this week, who's the first guy I thought of? And all Brendan's been doing for 4 years is going to different bars, restaurants, breweries, distilleries, cideries, wineries, posting, being like, hey, Omegang, great wit this week. What, done? He's the first. I haven't talked to Brendan in 4 years, and I texted him this week because I knew he was the beverage alcohol trademark guy.
And like that's where we say, like, don't get married to like one thing. Like, spoiler alert, people that are telling you that video is king and that live video is the way, read an article from 2016. You know what I mean? Like we do this live every day so we can engage with people in real time. But like, unless you actually have an aspect of your video that takes place in real time, guess what? You doing a pre-recorded video that you can plan out and have there where you know that it's going to look crisp because you're not trying to latch onto Wi-Fi somewhere is going to be way better for you. You know, and that's where you have to try different stuff. Like we were talking about today, like LinkedIn finally let you see if who's following your business pages on your actual profile. You could never do that before. You could see that Key Branding Labs has 312 followers on LinkedIn, but you couldn't see who they were. Now you can. Guess what the guy that's in charge of Key Branding Labs did for the last 3 days? Better believe went through and connected with every single one of those people that I wasn't connected with. Just say, hey, thanks for following. I appreciate it. That's it. You know what I mean? Like that was never part of the strategy 4 days ago, but now it is. So that's where just like doing different stuff and because you're going to uncover different things. Like, it's just like, what are we doing? You know?
How do you define your target market for Key Branding Labs? How do you know who a good client is versus, you know, and I mean this for everybody, not just Key Branding Labs. I don't care if you're selling winter hats. I don't care if you're selling keychains. I don't care if you're selling exercise workout mats. I don't care what you're selling. How do you find that core competency of what you're good at and finding people that may want your product or service?
I think, well, for us, the biggest thing is just people that, and this is where like I have a distinct advantage because I'm in so much control of what we do and how we do it. But people that just resonate with me through stuff like this. Like if you're the kind of person that's going to freak out when the dude in charge of your marketing agency is wearing a minor league baseball jersey and a backwards hat to work, like we're probably not going to be for you, you know. But the people that do respond to that and that see our stuff and that take the time to kind of be like, oh, these are kind of our people. Oh shit, they actually know what they're talking about. Like, oh shit, they work with them. Oh wow, they're crushing it. That's who I know our people is, you know. And like our big thing, like as far as target market, especially for us, very, very, very rarely is my first contact with a client with the decision maker. 90% of the time, it's through an employee at that business that knows us through something, or a referral, or that person's nephew or wife or husband that knows somebody that knows us. So that's where, like, ironically, for the, you know, hyper targeted digital marketing people, we do that, don't get me wrong, but 90% of it is just, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe with stuff like that. And especially for us, where all of our, you know, clients and customer relations is so long term, you know, like ideally like in perpetuity, where we're not just trying to close one transaction. We're literally trying to find people that are going to work with us and literally be a part of our family forever.
When everybody asks me, you know, how do I get more business in the door? I know I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating. If you want more business in the door, you know, how many contacts, I always ask them, I say, how many contacts do you have in your phone? And it's typically, it ranges from, you know, you and I are outliers. You and I have 2,000, but for the typical person, it's like 300 to 500 people. On average is what I would say.
Right.
And if somebody says, I want more business, I say, okay, when's the last time you texted somebody and let them know what you were up to? And the answer is always never. I've never done that. So there are 300 people within this device that you can text today and say, hey, I'm doing a brand pivot from real estate to professional services. Here's what I'm offering. Do you have anybody in your network that could possibly talk to me? This is the Golden Gate Bridge scenario. I say this until I'm blue in the face. I will tell this story. Is that the moment you're done going through all 300 contacts, telling people what you're up to, you will have more opportunities than you know what to do with. No matter what you are doing, as long as you're good at what you do with the service and the good that you provide. If you cross that barrier and you check that box, you can go and deploy that idea. Because the punchline is, you've heard me say this 100 times, and I'm sorry, by the time you get to letter K in your address book, you're going to say, shut it down. I have more business than I know what to do with.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. It's been a weird week this week. And I know a lot of it is fatigue for a number of reasons. But like, none of like the stuff that works today and it's going to work tomorrow, it's going to work the day after that. You know, and it's just wild to me that it's necessary for me and you to say the same 4 things every week. But it is. You know, and it's one of those things where you go through it and it just like, you just want to, I'm trying to be careful how I say this. It's just wild to me that I guess more people don't do it. Because every time like you have like I understand a lot of times you're so deep into your own stuff that you don't realize all of the external factors out there or all the opportunities that may exist or whatever. But just the sheer amount of times that like you go through the whole thing and you literally break down, like you almost have to like reset, you know, take stock of where you're at, where do we want to go, how do we want to get there, okay, good, and go. But it's just, I guess it's partly just because that's such a moving target recently with how much things have changed. But that has been such a huge theme for us this week inside this building, where like I understand the stress and I understand the freak out and I understand the like, but it's just what the amount of people that like we sit there and we talk to, and it's like, okay, let's just break everything down like we did 4 months ago, make a plan that's going to get us where we got to go, and go execute it. And just a 20-minute conversation just makes people feel so much better and so much more confident and so much more secure that, like, I don't know, it's just fascinating to watch because it's so simple. There's nothing crazy about it.
I think it's very simple to find the excuse. It's very simple to find the excuse, to excuse yourself to not work towards your goals. If you have a goal of building your business, starting a business, growing your business, selling your business, getting your business acquired, I don't care what it is, whatever the goal is, it is so much easier to say, well, this didn't happen. Well, COVID. Well, I don't understand TikTok. I don't understand Facebook digital ads. I don't understand this. The governor did this. The shutdown did this. You know, I get it. Those are real world things that happen. But like you always say, so now what? Okay. If you want sympathy, okay, I will give it to you. Boy, gee, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. Now what? I understand that people are losing money. I understand that some people are suffering. There are other people that are thriving. Look at it this way. Find the other, yes, if it's going to be 50, you know, creators and criticizers, you know my theory on this. You're either in one camp or the other. You either create something or you criticize something. You criticize the creators. So we all fall in one of those two camps. It's been my experience that the creators, when something happens to them and or their business, they're able to roll with the punches a little bit more and say, okay, now what? Let's go pivot. It's the criticizers that are over here wringing their hands saying, I don't want to try anything different. I want to sit here and complain about it. Those are two very different things. Now, I'm not saying it's easier to be a creator. I'm not saying that. It's actually harder to be a creator than it is a criticizer. Because the criticizer is the one that scrolls and says, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. That's easy. It's the other person over here saying, here's my experience with a client. Here's how I would translate this to somebody else's business. Well, that's a dumb idea. That's a dumb idea. That's a dumb idea. Where's yours? And then adapt to what's happening to you and change things immediately to give you the opportunity to grow more. That's the bottom line for me.
Well, I mean, spoiler too, like that's the bottom line in life. I mean, every good thing that you have is hard to get, you know? And like, I weirdly think that like as business owners, sometimes we think that we're just owed something just for showing up.
Yep.
You know, because like, listen, even the most average business owner still fucking works their ass off. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, 10-hour days, 7 days a week. But, you know, they think that just by going there and working at their business instead of working on it, we just think we deserve something sometimes just for being here. And I think that that's the biggest misnomer and just the biggest reason that so many people fail. It's because you could be a great person, you could show up, you could work really hard as an employee of your business and still have it not work. Because when you really take a step back and you really break it down, you're not doing your job in that particular circumstance. You know, if I came here every day and I just worked on client stuff and I just worked on content posting and running ads and stuff like that, I would do a phenomenal job for those 10 clients. But where would we be right now? You know, where would we be when, you know, you lose 3 clients because COVID just fucked their stuff up, but we've added 5 more because of the actual work that I was doing on the business and rewriting our proposals so that made sense for people, you know, post, and then reaching out to people where it made sense. We're like, hey, we can do a good job for these people that, oh, by the way, you've been spending time building relationships and engaging with over the last 2, 4, 7 years. So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I just want to shake people sometimes. I'm like, you are not an employee of your business. Like, you are in charge of it. Like, you are driving the boat. And it just feels like I don't know if it's just the week I had. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like that's where a lot of people are just getting lost. And it's one of the, like, you see it all the time, but like, you just like, they think that they work at their business. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to kind of guide it through this. And when you can set it up where you can take a step back from that, and like, I'm responsible for so little of the actual content that goes out here during the week. Like, it's crazy, but it's by design, so that you can set this place up to go where it needs to go, when it needs to go, how it needs to go.
And I think it's interesting that, I think a lot of people potentially don't create something because they're afraid of the criticism. I think that's very simple. If you do own a business and you do need to pivot for whatever reason because of COVID or whatever the reason is, I think it's that fear of sticking your neck out and be like, yeah, I'm going to get hammered by these people that watch, or I'm going to get hammered on my Facebook post, or I'm going to get hammered on this. It's like, okay, what is that going to do? If you're going to internalize that and take that personally, then this game's probably not for you. If you're gonna react to it and say, I hear you, how can we make this better for you? Then that's a good, healthy way to get back to the trolls and say, yeah, you're just probably here to troll me. I get that. I get it. I get it in my own personal life. It's like, who are you to think that you can give this advice or do a Facebook live show? It's like, can you imagine? You have no idea how many people send me a message privately saying, I go back and watch these. These are great. These are helpful. That's why I do it. I don't care about the person that says, I'll be quite frank. There's the person that says, oh, you're trying to be the next Gary Vee. I'm not. I have zero interest in being the next Gary Vee. Zero. I want to document my story if it helps one person and give that one person advice. To me, I couldn't care less about the criticism. I don't care. That's just where I'm at in my life. But I think the majority of people don't create for that very reason.
I think it's a big part of it is that. I think a big part of it, people are just, it puts you on the line to have to answer the question, like, what if I'm not good enough to do it? Do you know, like, why a lot of people aren't pivoting during all of this? Is because they're scared. They're scared. It took me 10 years, 15, 20 years to get to this point and get this figured out. What if I'm not creative enough to come up with a new thing and build a new system and put a new thing in place and execute it? Like, we have a restaurant in town. Literally everything is contactless. You sit down, you open up a virtual menu with a QR code that's taped to the table. You put your order in, you pay, somebody brings it out for you, everything, right? It gives me anxiety because I feel like I'm stealing every time I go there because there's no actual transaction, but I'm over it now. But like, that was probably a good, 6 to 8 hours of work to research that and implement it and go through and train the staff and the whole nine. But now they're prepped for whatever. If the governor comes out and says, hey, no indoor dining or drinking for the rest of the year, it's going to suck for them. They can hack it, And then there's, other places where, people haven't opened up, period. Because their system is their system and they're not going to open until their system's allowed.
Yeah.
Which, like, okay, cool. Like, it's your business, it's your call. If you can ride that wave and survive through that, like, God bless you. But like, it's just hard for me to understand that.
And the bottom line for me is, and if you go to zero, you go to zero. Okay. Like, that's okay. Like, there are things that happen. You're either your market or your product or your service or your Facebook post or your Instagram ad or your this or your that was not good enough. Okay. It still doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean you go to zero as a person. It means what you were offering went to zero. If 3 people watch this, guess what? It's not, oh man, only 3 people are watching this. No, it's holy cow. 3 people actually care enough to sit down and watch for 10 minutes of what you have to say.
in
That's
real time.
incredible.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this being in 1988, what you had to have done to get 3 people to listen to what you had to say? You couldn't, this didn't exist. You couldn't do this. It was get on a 3-way party line on your phone and start pontificating about what you're an expert in. And it couldn't happen.
You're dating yourself, bro.
Hey man, I'm 43 years old and I'm proud of it.
So, well, I mean, I think that's the thing too. Even like this live stream right now, there's 7 people watching it in real time. That's 7 people that have literally said that at this very second, nothing is more important than watching this show when you break it down. Like, that's absurd. You know? Like, so it's one of those, and it's the other thing too, is that like, going back to the whole having a plan, this is part of the plan that me and you have. The live aspect of that plan that we've thought about and we've researched and we've put time into, we know anything live is just a bonus. You know, that is not the actual intent of this show. So like that makes it a lot easier too. All right. We don't freak out like, oh man, we had 16 viewers last week. We only have 9 this week. What happened? We suck today? No, 1,010,000 things could have happened.
Yep.
You know, but because I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. We're all saving this and I'm going to upload it. I also, by the way, forgot to hit record. So if you can send me your recording, that'd be great. I just noticed that. But we know that that's the plan, and to have that in the holster for later on. And that's where like there's such a calm and a confidence that comes with just having a plan that you've put work into and that you believe in. Yep. It just makes everything else go away. All those fears, all those anxieties, all those uncertainties, they don't exist. They don't. Because I know that I have a plan, business-wise, life-wise, whatever, that I've put a lot of work into and that I believe in and that I feel confident is going to do what I need it to do.
Yep.
And on top of that, I'm also confident that if part of it breaks or doesn't work, which, spoiler alert, that's going to happen, that's fine too, because I've shown myself enough where like I can adjust, I can pivot, I can tweak, I can fix that on the fly. I like it. That's fun for me. You know what I mean? But like once you have that, everything else becomes so much easier to process and digest. And I think that that's just like one thing I just wish more people embrace. And it doesn't even have to be from an entrepreneurship standpoint. If it's, you know, if you have an 8 to 5 office job, fucking awesome. Great. You know what I mean? But like, what else is happening in your life to do what you want to do? Like if you're married and you work 8 to 5 and you make a good salary and you live life, and then, you know, you get to play Call of Duty with your boys on Friday nights and like you're going to bed and like waking up happy. Amazing. Awesome. You know, you're hanging out with your friends and you're genuinely catching up with your friends and spending time with them and not bitching about life or work or your boss or having to go to work on Monday. If you're not doing any of that, like, you won.
That's it. Why don't you touch on, so the plan for this show, let's get real tactical about this. You and I decided that Friday afternoon around noon, spend about 45 minutes to an hour together.
Yep.
Talking about the industry, talking about some experience, talking about life, just getting caught up. This is the most you and I have talked about in our 5, 6, 7-year relationship. It becomes a highlight of one of the highlights of my week. It becomes a vent session. It becomes a strategy session. It becomes a brainstorming session. It becomes all of those things. So you and I have 21 episodes that are about 21 hours. We almost have an entire day's worth of video content.
Yep.
In terms of the long-term strategy for this show, why is this format so rich in its actual format? Why is this so rich? And eventually, once we do execute on all, and once we fire on all cylinders on this, what does that look like in your mind?
I think for me, I think that there's so much value in establishing street cred, and B, just giving people a rabbit hole to go down, that in my opinion, that's the keystone of all of this. And then as like one of the big things that like I'm focused on it was going to be first quarter of this year, then Corona kind of fucked with that. But like really diving deep into our own marketing for stuff. And the big thing, like we always talk about, is we're going to have so much contextual, relevant, amazing content that we can pull 40 seconds at a time. I think I've already thought about it. I knew last Friday that I was wearing this shirt today because I knew this was episode 21. And then I'm going to harken back to when we had the whole 30-second conversation on why it's my favorite number in the whole thing. When somebody like makes it the big leagues with the Mets and they're rocking number 21, the whole thing. And we have so much background on our favorite restaurants or football teams or how you and I got started and stuff like that. Where like maybe it's a throwback Thursday from when me and you were at the kickoff party for Buy Local Bash at the Empire Brew Pub when that was the thing. Because we got content of that too. You know what I mean? And it's going to be literally just this bookshelf that we can pull whatever we want off of whenever we want to. And when we have a new client that we're talking to, I've already done it. Where they're like trying to get more of a feel for us, I give them the link to our YouTube channel. And I say, hey, you want to know how we approach things, how we look at it, what we do? Here's 20 hours of it.
Yep.
And it's just like the knowledge and the skills and the talent that I have and that you have does us very little good when it's just up here. And when you're on a call and you can pull from that and then people know that you know what you're talking about and you can come through for them, that's great. This just puts that on steroids because you can kind of pick it and go through the whole thing. Somebody asked me the other day, like, how would you rewrite a plan for like what clients should do, like with all of this COVID stuff? I'm like, here's a link. Watch episodes 4 through 9. That's what I would do.
Because we lived it in real time.
We documented it. We documented it. You drank your own Kool-Aid on that. Don't create anything, document it. We fucking documented it. It's there. A 6-hour guide on how you should innovate through coronavirus shutdown.
And when the second wave happens this fall, you can still go back. You still have time because it looks like it's going to come back. Not political, just a science-based opinion. But that's what you can do. That's why we try to write the playbook for this kind of stuff.
100%. And then like obviously just the targeting stuff that we can do, and then the targeted YouTube stuff. It's unlimited. It's literally unlimited what we can and what we will and what we can do with this. But the biggest thing for us is that there's just so much value in doing this, just to get it down and to get it out and just bleh, that to be able to just harken back to that and use that whenever we're ready and we're prepared and we have time to do it. Perfect.
It can be done in any industry. Just because you and I are entrepreneurs, just because we have a client-based business, just because we help other people through their trials, tribulations, helping them grow their business. This is just what gets you and I excited because this is what we do on a daily basis. But this can be done across anything. It can be done across photography or DJ or brewery, or I'm just going down the list here, or, office supplies or musicians or college thing. It can be done across anything. If you're a nurse and you just get down on nurse stuff, which I don't, which makes for interesting conversations at 4:30 every day, I can't get down with it. But if there's somebody that not only loves to be a nurse, but loves to talk nursing, watch nurse shows, watch emergency ER, watch this, read articles till 3 a.m, if that's what really gets you going, so you can do this with a bunch of nurses and say, here's what's happening real world in COVID. Here's what's happening. Here's some of the things that we do that you might want to try yourself. Here's some of the things, and then learn from each other. It can be done across any single business platform, any of them.
I think that the key to it is that humans are just inherently fascinating. And just as like social creatures, we want to learn and know more about other humans. We just do. However that manifests. If that's gossiping with the neighbor, if that's doing a show with your buddy every Friday, whatever. That's why That's just how we are. That's why Twitter exploded, because famous people got on it and people could literally interact with Ashton Kutcher in 2010.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, that's the thing. We're like, yeah, this fits so perfectly into what you and I do for a living, but literally anybody could do this. You know, everybody in life does cool things, but they don't seem cool to us because we get to do them every day. You know, if you are a nurse or a musician or you're a restaurant, let people behind the scenes. Anytime that we have a new employee start or whatever, and we have a meeting and it's with the guy that owns the restaurant and it's in the kitchen because he's also the head chef, and they get to be back there and watch everything, you can see it in their eyes. They think it's the coolest shit they've ever seen. But the guys that work back there, like, this is just my job.
Right.
You know, I'm guilty of it here. Every time somebody comes here for the first time, they're like, wow, dude, your office is awesome. Oh, dude, this couch area there. Yo, your door's literally painted like a telephone booth from London. Yeah. You know, but that's cool to them. So that's where, like, literally anybody could do this for any reason. Like, rather than just posting your specials, make one the night before on a live video and post it. And it's like, hey, here's what's on special today. I guarantee you sales will double. I guarantee it.
We have a woman that sews on Twitch. She's an expert sewer. She'll get 30 to 40 people that sit there and watch her live for hours and hours and hours. Mm-hmm. You just gotta go find them. That's really what it is, and continually put out the content. Like we always say, it's the documentation of what you're already doing. It's the non-fiction story of your life. That's what it is. People will find you. I guarantee it. But it's when you try to tell the story, you know, it's like glow stick. It's like I met Sumit through 3 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but he's got an incredible story. He's Stanford MBA. He just raised $2 million to do an app that he wants to rival Instagram. It's a shopping app. And now he's going through a raise of $1 million for glow stick. It's like, man, people want to hear that stuff. And then it's so funny you say that we just take it for granted. It's like somebody asks me what I do, and I tell them I wear about 100 different hats, and then I tell a couple of stories about what I'm working on, and it's like, wow. It's like, you're working with XYZ? I'm like, yeah. But they're just, I guess I don't do a good enough job. I'm taking my own medicine here. I guess I don't do a good enough job documenting those stories.
Yeah, well, you just don't like to humble brag either.
Well, that's true.
But like you know what I think a great example of that is? Just the whole people severely just underestimating how interesting everything is. The TV show Deadliest Catch. You ever seen it? It's literally 30 minutes, and the boats are different, and the people are different, but it's all the same. And they put a big cage on a thing, and they tip it over the railing. And then they tie a rope to it, and they pull it back. On paper, that's the dumbest show of all time. But when you watch it, you watch 8 episodes in a row because it's fascinating.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, your life is just crab fishing.
Yep.
You do it every day and you think, this is boring, this is monotonous, this sucks. I guarantee you there are 13 things that you did yesterday that if somebody saw that, they'd be like, wow, I didn't know you did that. That's really cool.
Until you get a fish hook in your mouth or what?
Yeah, or whatever your version of that is. That's part of the story. Do you know how many people? So you and I had a phone call yesterday, right? And I vaguely told people literally a 10-second synopsis of what it was, because people were just coming in like, what was that call? And I told them, and they're like, huh? They're doing what? Where? How the hell did you? And then it just spurs this whole thing, which that was just Thursday at 1 for us. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was the call that I had Thursday at 1 p.m. But that is so fun. I can't wait. Hopefully we can tell you guys more about it. But that's so fucking cool to so many people.
You and I are going to be racing before that project's over. You and I are going to be racing lawnmowers, jumping them into washing machines.
Listen, don't even get me excited. I am so ready. Like, that's just us on the weekend in our family. We're tailor-made for that one. I am fired up.
Except when the person that makes the introduction screws up which province they live in. That was pretty smooth, wasn't it?
I mean, they were close. Just ignorant Americans down here. It's all the same to us.
Guilty.
Canada's Canada, eh?
Oh, it's awful. Dan, Ray, Melissa, Jeff, Chris, thank you for watching. Or let's do last call on Friday. Man, I'm punchy today. You know what it is? It's that water is caught. I'm dangerously close to the water, getting on the water. So I get punchy and I get excited. That's what it is.
I think that's fair.
I'll be out there all weekend long if everything goes well. The weather looks phenomenal. What is your plan for the weekend?
I'm thinking tomorrow is going to be a lake day. There's a little socially distanced live outdoor music in my backyard today, so I might check that out. And I got a handful of like creative projects that we got to work on towards the end of the day today. So it might be a midday meeting with the boys over at Galaxy Brewing just to collect some items and just living the good life. It's been a week, man. So I don't know. I think everybody just needs a reset every once in a while. And yeah, it is going to be nice too, though.
It is going to be nice. Well, my one, actually I have a number of things. I shouldn't say one. I have a number of things I need to check off my list here in the next hour. One of them is to get some cocktail recipes to said phone call from yesterday, which I'm extremely excited about. This is going to be a blue collar premium brand that we're bringing to the marketplace. And if done well, you and I will do it together. And I'm certainly very excited about that. But that is next on my list, getting 2 or 3 more recipes for the guys once they check out in about 2 hours to stop by the bottle shop and do some mixing up of some pitchers of cocktails is all I'll say.
I am significantly excited about it.
All right, well, that is it. Facebook, Instagram, you guys are amazing. If you're watching this on YouTube, I never reference this because I'm so awful at my own stuff. I don't ever go back and watch these. I don't ever go back to the YouTube page. I don't build out my own YouTube page. So that is something I need to do. If you are watching this on YouTube, we greatly appreciate your attention. That's what exactly Adam said it best. We're trying to write the playbook for anybody, everybody and anybody that is trying to do their own thing, doing their own side hustle that want to turn it into a main business. That's really how we started this entire thing. So if you've made it to exit, sorry, this texted me. If you've made it to exit 21, you've reached your destination. No, if you've made it to episode 21, we greatly appreciate your attention. That's what I'm saying.
1,000%.
There you go. Ending Facebook Live. Cheers, everybody. Great weekend.
See you guys.